Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers of HealingStars.com. This is a chart set for London for the full moon on September the 30th. Already we'll be feeling this energy. You can see in this chart the very strong red triangle that's been created. This is called a T-square. And a T-square is basically when there is huge amounts of tension between planets. The full moon is always an opposition, and here's the sun in Libra opposite the moon in Aries. So they're governed by Venus and Mars. But joining this full moon, we have Uranus right next to the moon. And then at a right angle to both, we have Pluto in Capricorn. Now this is creating what we call a T-square. And the release point of a T-square is actually being formed by the new planet called Ceres, which has just moved into the sign of Cancer. You can see up here, this is Cancer. This right angle of Uranus and Pluto is evolution and revolution. The moon, Uranus, revolution, frustration, urge to move forward, which is Aries, impulse, but can be very rash as well. And Pluto, the god of the underworld, in Capricorn, is plutocracy and power. And the sun in Libra always wants harmony, always wants balance, always wants partnership. However, with Uranus now opposite, that will be difficult. Uranus, we can never predict what Uranus will do. That's the whole problem with it. It is unpredictable because it is so out of the blue, so sudden. It's an impulse that people suddenly get caught in. Now, when the moon and Uranus come together, that can also affect the nervous system and the body. And you might already be feeling this. The rulers of Aries and Libra, Mars and Venus, have been at a right angle to each other all week. There's Venus over here in Leo, the fixed sign of Leo, and there's Mars at the top. Where's Mars gone? Down the bottom of this particular chart set for London in Scorpio. Now, Leo and Scorpio are fixed signs. That means they can be very stubborn. They don't change. It's part of their good qualities is they stay the course. But when you have the lovers, as Venus and Mars are, fixed, it can be a no-win situation, a power struggle, a fight. A lot of control issues might be coming up in your relationships with everyone, actually, not just lovers or partners. Because also what's happening is that Ceres, as I said, is opposite Pluto. This is creating a myth in the sky that is a very deep myth in astrology. Ceres is the Earth Mother, otherwise known as Demeter. Pluto is also called Hades, god of the underworld. And one of the original myths of the gods, which is the original gods, would be, I'm talking here about Jupiter, Pluto and Neptune. Pluto wanted a wife, but no one wanted to marry the god of the underworld. So he took it upon himself to seize Ceres' daughter, called Persephone, and take her down into the underworld. Now Ceres, the mother, was bereft. She didn't know where her daughter was. So she left her temple and she wandered the earth. And as she did so, the crops dried up. Now the gods needed the humans to worship them, so if they died, as if the crops died off, they would have no one to worship them. So they decided, of course, to bring Persephone back. But when she was reunited with her mother said, "Have you eaten while you've been in the underworld?" Persephone said, "Yes, I've eaten some pomegranate seeds." And what that meant is that she'd actually had sex with Pluto. And as a result, she was now his wife. So she had to return once a year. And that time of year is just past now. It's the harvest time. Ceres is the goddess of the harvest, of the corn, of the wheat. Now this story means it's the story of the seasons of the year, and Persephone comes back in the springtime to be reunited with her mother. But Ceres, because she's now known and acknowledged as a dwarf planet, is an important feminine archetype. And you can see that there's another very, very positive energy, a blue triangle, that's really good, with Ceres in Cancer, water sign, Chiron and Neptune in Pisces, water sign, and Saturn is just about to move into Scorpio, which will be another water sign, still in Libra, but it's connecting these planets together. Now, Ceres, that myth is important because it's a myth about a mother and a daughter, and the daughter gets abducted and taken down into the underworld. As a result, Persephone, the young girl, the virgin, becomes the queen of souls as she matures and is wedded to the god of the underworld. However, it's still a story of abduction, and we've actually seen this occurring in the UK over the last week, where a young girl eloped with her teacher. She's 15, he's 30. So he's acting out Pluto. She's acting out Persephone. And the mother, of course, is distraught. Luckily, the two have now been found, and the daughter, we hope, will soon be reunited with her mother. But the distress of the mother, not knowing where her daughter is a universal one. It's also the tendency, of course, as a young girl in her teens is maturing, and she becomes interested in the opposite sex. So that mother-daughter bond, if it's not a good one, can often be broken. There's no judgment there on this particular case, by the way. But Ceres, there is healing occurring between Ceres and Neptune Chiron. And that is a positive outcome. Now, the other important thing to know, of course, is that the moon, Uranus, unpredictable, Aries, is governed by Mars, and Mars at a right angle to Venus. So this tension is actually going to carry on for quite a while, because the moon basically will be picking up the sign of Cancer. Takes only about 2.5 days to go through a sign, so it's the following week, and then it will be in Libra, be opposite Uranus, and then it will be with Pluto, and that means that this tension will be recreated. Also, Mars is also very close to the North Node, also in Scorpio now. North Node is to do, the South Node to do with your destiny, South Node the past lives, but also eclipses, and that will be coming up in November. But the feminine energy, feminine leadership, is also an important signature of this full moon. The caring for each other, cooperation with each other, and acknowledging the feelings that are deep when any planet is in the sign of Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. So if you've been caught in a fight, the Mars-Venus energy, the answer to that is, would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? So it may be time to say sorry. It doesn't mean that the other person is right, by the way. It just means you're willing to give up your stand, your fixed stance, in order to join with someone else, in order to bring peace, which is, of course, what Libra and Venus really want. Thank you for listening. Pam Carruthers at healingstars.com.